Nerissa Dunhaven met the sunrise for the very first time on 2 October 1998 inside a dune grass cottage set on storm-worn pilings above the opal flats of Cape Cod's Wellfleet Harbor. Outside, a lone piping plover tested new wings against the pink sky, while her mother, a Roadhouse blues harmonica artist who stores pressed beach pea blossoms inside her reed cloth, slid a velvet scale that made enamel mugs wrap her father, a salt spray cartographer who sketches cloud stingrays on tide table margins, leaned so close their freckles merged and promised his newborn that wharf rumors, cafeteria cackles, and clothing rails that flatline at 14 would always back away from any soul daring enough to claim her full outline. Curves have crept through the Dunhaven family as reliably as warm Gulfstream fingers weave beneath cool Atlantic chops, so nobody flinched when baby Nerissa split her second muslin blanket long before the kettle hissed. Granny Clem stitched each tier with linen, pulled off a retired sail, then laughed that 2 thumb lengths of extra cloth cost pennies, while shrinking a child could cost her galaxies of horizon. The school hallways tasted of cedar shavings, cranberry cobbler drifting from the lunch window, and sea fog sneaking through cracked casements. Nerissa already towered a head above her table mates and clipped the overhead beam whenever she traced humpback rest stops on the pull-down map. One drizzly recess, a pair of boys hop-skip circles, chanting, "Sand barge." Each thud, her gumboots left on chalk lines. That evening, she raided beach debris, gathered soda caps burnished pearl by surf, threaded them on fishing line, stitched a rattling spine down her seafoam hoodie, and stepped into morning homeroom scattering rainbow freckles across blistered ceiling tiles. A visiting literacy coach filmed 12 jittery seconds on a prepaid phone, posted the shimmer to a fledgling video corner, and by lunch, 15,000 strangers applauded the girl who forged mocking into lighthouse glow. Nerissa wrote one lavender promise, between decimal drills, clouds crowd only until you flash them bright. Weekends belonged to the Breakwater Pier, where her mother's harmonica licks tangled with diesel burps from lobster boasts, skillet pops from chowder shacks, and gulls hustling for bait scraps. Retail jeans jammed at Nerissa's thighs, so she swapped tip jar coins for sun-bleached gillnet, unraveled it into rope, crocheted high-rise culottes, and misted horseshoe crab silhouettes in squid ink, and posed at apricot sunsets against grass-veined pylons while her cousin snapped grainy frames. Every shot drifted into an online diary called Lantern Glide. The week, a shiny app finally hummed across patchy Cape towers. Captions skipped between boatyard slang and blunt truths like curves anchor gust steadier than seawalls. By her 16th birthday, 53,000 unseen hearts double-tapped every coral frame. Proof glowing rectangles hushed cafeteria whispers faster than any assistant coach whistle. A coastal systems scholarship winched her south to Virginia Tech's Wave Tank Labs. Days dissolved in data runs. Nights belonged to a 24-hour cornbread wagon, glowing neon nectarine beneath loblolly pines. The heat lamp doubled as ring light. Between honey orders, she filmed 90-second reels folding parchment into Dune Rose barrettes while translating dart rotation in half lecture zip, half title law. Unupload blended silbarks with lo-fi shuffle while she chain stitched reflective anchor cord into thrift denim, scoring 1.4 million views in 48 hours. Mid-Atlantic style pages knighted her the cornbread couturier, though brand pitches still choke at size 16. She filed each deck in a folder named Shrinking Nets, wiped molasses glaze from her cuff, and plated another slab. Hurricane Drill Week delivered an envelope bearing a Columbia Sportswear crest. They wanted her to co-design a spray cell capsule titled Seabright Pulse. Rissa replied with 3 pure solid terms, patterns reaching 60-inch hips, half the set crew hired from community college design programs, 10% of net profit funneled to eelgrass revival from Rhode Island to Hatteras. Columbia signed before dawn, stained the beaker's rose. The chute unfurled on a dead low sandbar where piping plover chicks scribbled commas toward mirrored water. She guided paddleboarders of every contour across glass ripples while a drone etched lazy infinity loops overhead. When the lookbook went live, every extended size jacket vanished within 41 hours across 31 nations, and Lantern Glide vaulted past 700,000 lantern icons. If the tide of this tale already swells inside your chest, tap subscribe right now. One gentle click fixes your rail spot so the next voyage lands in your queue before algorithm currents can carry it away. Check the description anytime. A quiet link down there walks you through the clearest, science-backed path to genuine romance and shows exactly how to spark magnetic intrigue in any woman. Spotlight Glimmer invited rumor petrels. A clickbait vlog insisted Narissa cinched steel plates around her waist between frames. At dawn, she paddled a cedar board beyond eelgrass carpets, stood barefoot in linen shorts and sports bra, traced each silver stretch stripe with crushed bougainvillea dust, and riffed the harmonica run so raw, pelicans halted mid-dive. 10 million viewers reposted the proof, brushing fuchsia pollen across their own curves until gossip sank smoother than slap. Cornbread wagon wages, braided with capsule royalties and whipped into Dunhaven butter, a whipped custard folding spruce tip cream, lemon basil oil and mica sparks that glow shell white under foam flash. 19,000 tins cooled on her father's chart table, lids tied with braided lobster line, each label stamped moisturize your horizon. Stock emptied in 82 minutes, lifting $197,000. 20% launched Beacon grants delivering industrial surgers and hydrophones to plus-size teens in shoreline schools from Portland, Maine to Portsmouth, Virginia. 8 months later, 37 grantees streamed a floating fashion and whale song gala aboard a retro scallop dragger strung in solar lanterns, sunrise colors spilling into classrooms from Kingston to Kyoto. Boston Harbor Fashion Week etched a fresh wharf legend when a backstage fan tore her sapphire mesh gown from mid-hip to knee 90 heartbeats before runway. Narissa ripped neon dock rope off a rig post, laced the gap like boot hooks, and strode as if the splice belonged there from first sketch. Shutters cracked like kettle corn. Vogue Atlantic dubbed the fixed rope cadence rescue, and another million lantern sparks lit before saxophones warmed the after party. A spurned intern leaked clipped emails claiming she demanded clam tower banquets and chauffeured skiffs for her rescue turned briny. She posted the chain and tire, refillable water urns, lentil stew for crew, caption tablets for desk stylists, then funneled that month's affiliate wave $134,000 into biodegradable crab trap pilots off Chatham Bar. Fans repeated her breakwater creed receipts glow brighter than rumor grit until whispers flatten like tide pool algae. Family tethers her keel. Twice each month she streams Porchline Groove. Mom layering blue note trills beside a propane griddle, dad reading cloud haiku, Narissa flipping thrift denim while Briny steps tiny circles through powdered sugar. One show peaked 9 million views when the bird sneezed glitter into the lens. A wildlife shelter now sponsors every stream, tagging rehabilitated terns with solar beacons paid by Dunhaven butter. Other revenue skimmed beyond 12 million before the second solstice. She leased a quiet oyster shed, cut skylights through corrugated tin, hired furloughed deckhands and design grads to whip custard and knot lids by hand during midday brass house sets. Auditors begged for shrink bands. She repeated Granny Clem's mantra. Fingertips keep legend longer than plastic ties and rope knots stayed. Her feed speaks raw sky. Basalt cliff portraits share space with cornbread truck selfies, captioned same sky, different tide. She posts breath loops recorded inside echo caves, printable resilient sheets in English and Wampanoag, discount codes for sliding scale therapy 3 swipes down. 135,000 readers call her Shoreline Honesty their first calm harbor. Community glow rides spin under crushed shell dust, hundreds coast sunset dikes wearing Dunhaven butter on collarbones and LED kelp tassels twirling from spokes. Ticket money fattens Beacon grants and lifts wheelchair snorkel lifts at spring-fed coves. Chowder Barns Ladle Lake, haddock bowls jump 15% on ride nights. Narissa pedals lead on a vintage cruiser with briny plush buckled for, stopping to lace any rider's loose sneaker. She's revising Currents Keep names for translation into 11 tongues next spring, while a documentary crew follows her mission to weld retired buoy chains into floating maker labs for Barrier is Island schools. Puma's Y2Wave lantern sneaker launches next quarter, threaded with reflective rope and cushioned by algae foam, steering 10% of revenue into Beacon seed beds hugging the Atlantic rim. If that subscribe badge still shines red, now is the moment to soften it gray. One fingertip guarantees the next tide meets your notifications ahead of any algorithmic undertow. And remember, the description's love science link waits whenever you choose to open new heart water. Leonard's Dam and playback eases towards slack water. Under this video, you will find fresh Dunehaven tins, Beacon Grant portals, tonight's Porchline playlist, and the compass countless viewers use to sail smoothly from hello to spark. Every resource is free, a click away. If the soda cap spine shimmer, rope lace gown rescue, or briny glitter sneeze coax even half a grin tap like, drop your brightest ripple in the comments and share this odyssey with a friend whose sails droop. Every curve reroutes currents, every scar refracts lighthouse beams, and the coast bows to any stranger steady enough to plant 2 boots on the pier and greet tomorrow eyes bright. Final shoreline whisper before lights dip. Subscribe right now, claim your reel, visit that love link just below, and meet me on the next rising tide when a new story flickers beyond the breakers and courage sings your name once again.